All right, good morning, everybody. It's Friday. We're going to try to put another video together for you guys. I'm going to intro it a little different and start out in the kitchen here because we got to get an early start. We're going to actually get a late start at work, but we're going to get an early start this morning because I got to run over to Pottsville to the dermatologist. When I had my appointment last week, I had to have something removed from my arm, and so then I have stitches in it, and I have to go over there and get the stitches removed because they weren't the self-dissolving kind. I got to go over there and get them removed. So we had a late start for work this morning, but I got to roll out of the house about an hour early so I can get over there to get that done. So anyway, we'll see how the day plays out. We got Reddings and Fogelsvilles to do today, so we'll talk to you out there on the road and out and about in our travels. Alright, so we're here, and a little early. I'm here for 7:30. I got here at 7:20, so gotta wait out here until they call me back. But we're here, and we'll see how long it takes. Well, wonders never cease. We actually were able to make it here on time. We might have been leaving about 5 minutes later than our normal departure time. So I got here, pre-tripped the truck. We were just about ready to go. One of the trailer tires is low, flat or low, but we got to get it aired up at the very least for me to run today. Our mechanic is not here yet, just the shop helper is here, so I got to see what we're going to do. I could have got out of here on time, but now it looks like I'm going to be delayed at least slightly, if not more substantial, but we're going to go get that problem addressed here in about 2 minutes, and then I'll talk to you once we're done and rolling. All right, so as is usual, we're loading. Nobody was here. We didn't have to wait on anybody. Right now, the temperature is about 22 degrees, so we had to use the hammer to get the cap off the back of the truck. Should warm up to about 30 to 35, somewhere in the low 30s today, so hopefully we won't have too much problem with icing up. But this cold snap has been really annoying. Right when I got back on water, the bottom fell out of the temperatures and we went into an Arctic chill that's been pretty persistent. Snow's lingered for 2 weeks already, and that don't usually happen in December. If we do get any December snow, it usually melts off within a week and we moderate. But now next week we are supposed to moderate. By Thursday we might hit 50, so warmer weather's coming. We got to get through a few more days of this, but it really makes water hauling difficult because everything freezes up, and you got to use a torch, you got to use a hammer, and it makes an easy job just a little bit more difficult. We don't have to worry about so much the vents freezing up anymore since we put an elbow up on top instead of running a pipe down the side of it. And we used to have problems with that before, but so far we haven't had problems with vents freezing up. But still, just working the back of the truck, the hoses get stiff, the valve doesn't want to close or open, and the caps don't want to come off. So the colder the temperatures, the more difficult water hauling becomes. So the warm up next week will be most welcome. But anyway, we're loading, and we'll talk to you on the way down. All right, so just rolled through New Tripoli past the high school and lost in the shuffle of complaining about 10-mile under drivers and cold weather. I failed to mention that today is actually a beautiful day. Right now there's hardly a cloud in the sky. There's some down on the southern horizon, and there was a few puffy ones to the west, but overhead it's just nothing but clear blue skies. And it's 30 degrees right now at 10:15 a.m. So maybe the weatherman will bust low with the forecast high temperatures. Maybe we'll push towards 40 down here on the warm side of the Blue Mountain. I don't know. One little thing that does bother me is when I cleaned the window this morning to give you a better view, I didn't go quite far enough to the right. and catching a little bit of that salt. I don't know if I'm going to pop the hood and try and clean over there any further or not, but I tried to clean up where the windshield wiper didn't swipe, get that salt off of there, but I can see I got to go a little bit further because of the wide angle of the lens. But overall, you have a clear view other than down that right side of the screen. So I don't know. It all depends. If I have a lot of time down there, if there's a little bit of a delay, maybe I'll pop the lid and try and clean it off another inch or two further to the right. But I think you got a pretty good view overall. It's winter time and the truck is dirty as hell, and I really would like to get the pressure washer out and wash it, or at least rinse the salt off it, but it's just too cold. And then when I come in, it's after dark and the temperatures are dropping already, so it's cold, below freezing in the morning, below freezing when I'm done. I don't get a chance to do it without icing up the whole truck. But if you look at that creek there to the right, I don't know if it's picking it up, that thing is like halfway frozen over. I probably should have showed it to you the other day when it was cloudy out, you'd see it better. But yeah, it's just been super stupid cold ever since December 2nd. We got the snow on the 2nd, and it's just been cold ever since. So hopefully we, like the weatherman has been saying, next week gonna moderate. All right, so I was gonna do my segment outside, but after I hooked up and got started, that guy got in here, so he's unloading and he's back there rinsing off the back of his truck. So we'll talk to you here in the cab. Able to get right on and get started, so that's a good thing for load number one. Clean the windshield up a little bit better for you guys. Hopefully that little salt strip to the right side of the screen will be gone. And the only other thing now is I gotta wait. I was about to use the restroom and somebody beat me to the punch, so hopefully they won't be in there too long and I can use it before we roll back northbound. So, but anyway, so far so good on load number one. Alright, so we're empty. We're rolling back northbound up 100 here. Got that tanker up there, Aqueduct. He's empty like we are. He's rolling along pretty good, but if my eyes didn't deceive me, it looked like there was one or possibly two oversized loads up a little bit further. So I don't know how slow they're going to go and if they're going to cause us a problem or if they're going to roll pretty good. I don't know how heavy they are. It looked like construction equipment, so maybe they got big motors and light equipment and can actually roll. But like I said, Aqueduct up here, he's empty. I don't know where he's going to load, but he's empty. They used to load down there by the plant off a fire hydrant there in Trexlertown. I don't think they're doing that anymore. So he's rolling northbound empty, going to get a load from somewhere. And yep, there's the oversize. I knew it. I knew it. They're pulling two oversized, pulling articulated quarry dump trucks. Here we go. Nice slow ride all the way up to the Blue Mountain because there is nowhere to pass them. So much for staying on or getting ahead of schedule. These guys are crawling 24 miles an hour. 23. I mean, we'll be able to pass them up there at the Blue Mountain. It's just a matter of getting to the Blue Mountain because the rolling hills here on 100 and 309, every time they hit a little bit of a grade, they're going to slow down. And one thing about Route 100, it is basically a water route. There's a whole bunch of springs up this way, or wells as we call them. And so there's lots of water trucks that go to the different water plants down there in Trexlertown. So it's a waterway, and it's also a prime route for oversized loads. I guess the state doesn't run them up the turnpike. Well, they can't because of the tunnel sitting at 13.6. So in order to get up into the northern counties, they got to jump off and run 100, 309 to get up there to 81 or wherever they're going. So lots of oversized loads on this road. Almost on a daily basis, I will find one somewhere. But anyway, Not much we can do about it. It just kind of knocked the wind out of my sails a little bit because we were doing pretty good. So, is what it is. By the time we get up there and start loading the next one, we'll have gotten over it and moved on. So, well, I'll tell you, these two guys, they are not steering wheel holders. They are drivers, and they got some pretty decent equipment because other than the steeper hills, they've been rolling along pretty good. They get on the flat or downhill, they're rolling speed limit. And even some of the hills didn't pull them down all that much. That first one that really pulled them down was probably because they got the light there at the bottom of the hill and it took them a while to get going. Now they are going to lose it going up the mountain here, and we will catch them and pass them, but they're moving along pretty good. In fact, we should be able to start getting them right now. They're going to start pulling down. Now let's just hope we don't have no tractor trailers coming down the other side. That always seems to happen. Yep, here we go. Like I said, every time I pass somebody on this hill, there's a truck coming right at me. But there we go. I knew we were going to get them, but that is the first passing zone from Trexlertown. You don't get a passing zone northbound once you get past the Weiss markets down there until you get to the Blue Mountain here. So, but we got them. But like I said, they definitely drivers, and they definitely got some pretty decent trucks because they were able to roll when they could. All right, so we're here loading up the second one, and it really has turned into a beautiful day. I mean, standing here in the sun, it's nice and warm. There's a little bit of a breeze yet, but even though it's only probably about 32, 33, 34, it feels comfortable. I don't even need my heavy winter coat, like I said. I just got this fleece flannel on, and I'm comfortable, but nobody was here, so we were able to get right on the pad and load, and about 15 minutes we should be out of here rolling southbound with the second one. Now, like I said, those oversized, they really didn't hold me up as much as I thought they would. They kept them moving other than when they got on the hills, so we did pretty good. So, all right, I'll talk to you on the way back down, or talk to you down there or somewhere along the way. Well, it kind of appears that we are not going to have a wall-to-wall sunny day today. I can't tell you the last time we did. A lot of times we wake up to sunshine, and at some point during the day, usually before noon, clouds roll back in. And that's kind of what's happening. There were clouds on the low southern horizon earlier this morning, and they seem to be creeping ever so slowly northbound. So we've got a very muted sun right now. As I go around this bend, you might see where the edge of the cloud deck is. It's high cirrus stuff almost, but you see the blue skies there to the left, the clouds to the right. So they're just kind of creeping northwest or northeastward. There was a storm that was coming across Kentucky and southern Virginia, giving a little bit of snow, and down that way. And that's what this must be, is the edge of the cloud deck for the edge of that storm. So we're not going to see any snow out of it, but it may get overcast here as the day goes on. Well, I guess it was too good to be true. I'm backed on the pad, but we slowed down to one at a time. Silos must be full, so we're going to be here a little bit longer than I would have liked. As you know, it doesn't overly bother me. It comes with the territory, but it's still disappointing because I was not like making up time, but I was holding my own. I was about 15-20 minutes later than usual, but nothing to squawk about. But now this is going to set me back a little bit. So, all right, we'll talk to you later on while we're unloading. All right, so we're unloading now, and I sat out there for a while, waited for the other guy to get done, so I knew when to hit mine, and it did come right on. As soon as his pump kicked off, my light came on, so we were able to start right away. However, the muted sun, it's not quite as warm as it was earlier. Not that the temperature is probably any different, but just sitting in a bright, strong sun has a warming effect, where now that it's kind of more muted with those high clouds, it didn't feel quite as warm sitting out there. So we're sitting in the truck now for a while. Once we're close to done, we'll go out, wait a little bit, and unhook and head on up for load number 3. We'll be getting that one at the well in the woods, as I call it. Go over to Reading. All right, load number 2 is in the books. We are leaving. Oh, there's a big hawk up on that light. 1:20 p.m. No, we had to sit and wait down there, probably adding half an hour to our day now. So it is what it is. Like I said, it's always discouraging when you have to sit and wait, because you'd like to keep moving, but it is what it is. Nothing you can do about it. But we're still in good shape to get done at a decent-ish time tonight. It'll always, of course, be after dark, but we'll get done at a decent time. And we shouldn't have a problem making left here yet. Like I said, only 1:20 in the afternoon, or maybe a little more traffic than the last time we came out of here, but it's not like between 3 and 3:30 when it's almost impossible to make a left-hand turn here. That's the time when I make the right and just go out that way, out to 100. Of course, you got a couple extra lights that way, but at least you keep moving. You're not sitting there trying to pray for a break in traffic. So, take a look at the grass around here. You can actually see the grass. They did not get the snow that we got on Wednesday or last week. They got about a ½ inch, 3/4 inch last Tuesday when we got 4, and they got probably just about a coating on Wednesday when we got like 1 to 1.5. So a whole different look down here compared to up on the other side of the Blue Mountain. You'll see that when we get to the well, and as well as other times of the day that we've been shooting. Yeah, the Blue Mountain kind of is a demarcation zone for who got a full-blown snow event and who got mixed rain and snow. So, but we're making our way out, winding around through the old industrial park, get us out to 100, and northbound. Hopefully we don't get behind any more oversized. We were fortunate enough that those two guys had some big trucks and knew how to actually drive them. I get behind dry-van guys going up there that I don't know if they're new and scared or what, but they'll go up 100, they'll be 40 miles an hour all the way up that road, and it's a 55 road, and they just crawl up there, and they're hitting their brakes around the bend, hitting their brakes before they go up a hill, and it's like, what are you guys doing? You want to get a run for the hill, not hit your brakes and slow down. But yeah, that's kind of some of the stuff we deal with on these 2-lane roads. Oh, let's see, every now and again when we get out there to 100, we get lucky and the light is green or the right turn arrow is on. It doesn't happen too often, but sometimes we get lucky. Right now, traffic looks like it's rolling out there, so we're not going to be lucky today. And as of right now, nobody's across the street. That light turns green over there while this one is red. This is one of those that alternate greens. They don't both go green at the same time. So even when 100 light turns red, we can't go right away. Mr. Utz is able to get out. Got a brake. Let's see, what do we got? Nothing is over there. So, oh, our light turned green. If nobody's over there, I guess ours turns green right away. That was pretty cool. All right, onward, upward. Hope we can roll the speed limit and get up there at a decent time. All right, so we're about to hook the left here off at 309 on the 895 to head out to the well in the woods. You got one van sitting there. Now we got a car coming. One that's making a left. Boy, that's risky. There's no sight line when I'm sitting here. Alright, we can make it. There we go. Alright, so we got a few miles to run out this road, and then you've seen it before, but get a little better look at that little bit of a reverse turn we got to make off of here to get onto the road that takes us back there. This DJI camera doesn't quite show it, and I can move my head and show you in the mirror, you know, how it kind of plays out. It's not terrible, there's plenty of room to do it, but it is just, you know, it is a little bit of a reverse turn. It's more than a 90 degree. They're probably about a 100-degree turn, just enough that you gotta pull back more to the left after you make the turn. So, but all right, when we get closer, we'll turn the camera back on and show you. Oh, so we're almost to that turn, and one thing, it looks like those clouds are retreating back down to the south, so maybe we will hold on to the sunshine all day long. Anyway, here comes our turn up here. And then you gotta make the left right here by this green barn. And it kind of reverses. Just a little bit. So it's not so hard getting in, but when you got a load and you're trying to make the right, when we go down to Lansdale, that's a bit of a hard pull there. Pulling up that hill and making a right-hand turn. But, so I haven't been back here now since Wednesday's extra snow, so I don't know what it's going to be like. Looks like there was snow on this road that the sun had melted because it's pretty wet. I bet the wind drifted the snow across the road here. It looks like they had to drop a blade and push it back. That'll be interesting if we ever get a big snow. Looked like there was a decent amount of drifting just from the 1.5 inches that we got. Imagine if we got 8, 10, 12 inches of snow, how much this road would drift. So I saw one of our drivers heading back, so he must be done for the day. Now let's hope nobody's down here. It's almost time for the 2 p.m. driver to come out. I don't know if he leaves early or if he leaves right at 2 p.m. Chance he could be in here if he's one of them early birds that leaves the yard ahead of his appointed time. Ooh, bumpy. Bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. Now the other day I come down here and you can't see if anybody's coming out the driveway, and I had just started into my turn and somebody was coming out, and I had to back out onto the road here and kind of give them the room to get out because there's not enough room for 2 trucks to get in and out of this driveway. No, somebody is here. I'm gonna have to switch cameras. Well, maybe not. Not until I actually back on next to him. Which side is he on? Looks like he's on the left side if we're facing out. So that means I would be on the right side, which is the side I prefer to be on. Because the hose is so long, I like being on the right side. Oh, is he getting ready to leave? Looks like he's getting ready to leave. Really good I caught him before he started coming out, or we would have had to do one of our backup procedures again. Yep, he's leaving. That means I don't have to wait on him. That means I can hook up and load right away. I do the flip here. Probably skate a little bit on this glare ice. We'll see. If we take it slow enough. Nope, we did not. A little more interesting of a segment than I was expecting. Woohoo! When I hit the brakes, the trailer slid just a little bit to the right, but this is pretty much solid ice in here. It looks white like snow, but it's pretty much solid ice. So now that 2 p.m. driver may come in here while I'm loading, so I will not have the hat cam on while I'm loading. I think, let's see, pull it up just a little bit. Like I said, this hose is longer than it used to be. That looks about right. It's hard to judge. All right, we'll have to use that tree right there as my guide. Alright, we're here. Time to go load up. Alright, so we're hooked up and loading. Paperwork's done, computer work is done, and I'm not walking down alongside the truck. That was really slick ice, and I'm good at walking on ice because of this job, but that was real slick ice. So we're walking over here where there's a little bit more traction. And this place cools off quicker than some of the other places because it's already in shade at 2 o'clock because of the trees. The sun is, as you can see right there, but because of the trees, it gets into the shade quicker than a lot of other places. So whatever had started melting is already starting to freeze back up. That's why all the slick ice out here. But anyway, I'm getting this one loaded up, and then you know the routine. Go out 895 to 61 down through Hamburg, and we're gonna hit probably peak rush hour on this trip. Might not have it full-blown going down, but we'll have it full-blown coming back up, and we might have a good chunk of it going down on our 4th one, and then by the time we get unloaded after the 4th one, then it thins out pretty good. But anyway, it's colder here than it is up at the or down at the plant in Fogelsville, so we're gonna go inside the building and stay warm. All right, those guys are going hunting. They got their camo gear on, but they're orange jackets, so they are going to do some hunting somewhere down in here. But so we are coming out the end of the road here. We got to make a left, which isn't a whole lot easier than the right. It's a little bit better, but that right turn is tough with a load. Now let's see. There's one coming. We don't want to pull out in front of him, but he's back there pretty far, but I don't want to pull out in front of him because it's going to take us a while to get going here. And this truck wants to default. The 4th gear is kind of not the right gear to pull out on a hill like this. I backed it down to 2nd. These automatics, they're nice, especially for somebody like me who has a bit of a shoulder problem. I don't have to shift, but sometimes they do stupid things, like coming up that hill and trying to pull out on here, and the thing wanted to pull out in 4th gear. That's all right on the flat or going downhill, but not trying to pull a hill and making a turn. But they're supposed to sense the terrain. I mean, not necessarily the turn, but they're supposed to sense the terrain and select the right gear for what you're doing and where you're at. But 4th gear was not the right gear, but anyway. So good thing I didn't have hat cam on because driver had come in while I was loading, so that big old camera, it's not a big camera, it's actually a small camera, but sitting on the brim of my cap is stick out like a sore thumb. First question would be, what the heck is that thing? And then I'd have to explain everything. So I really would like to show you loading processes and unloading processes, but it's kind of hard because there's so many drivers that run along with me that you never know when one's going to come in while you're there. So, I mean, I'll try, and hopefully one day I'll be able to do it, but it's not easy. All right, so here we are. This is the light. There we go. It's going to change green. This is the one I try to time so I don't have to stop for, and I did time it out perfectly. I said the magic word and made one of the cameras do something I didn't want it to do, so hopefully we got 2 cameras running again. I don't know, I can't tell for sure. Alright, we do. There are certain words you cannot say when you have a camera that works on voice commands. And I said one of them. But we're almost here, and I just talked to our other driver. He's not that far behind me. I don't know how. I guess he got more green lights than I did, but I wanted to tell him about scrap metal that was laying in the right lane, make sure he knew to be in the left lane at a certain point on 61. And so he's not too far. He'll get here before I'm done, for sure. Hopefully nobody's here. I can use either silo, but I want to use silo 1 because they said that hose for silo 2 is really stiff because of how cold it is. So, but this one's harder to line up for. You got to make sure you're in just the right spot. And I mean, I showed you last year where they had a pothole, and if you dropped your tire in that pothole, you were good. But they paved it, and that pothole isn't here anymore. But you got to get close to that yellow post there. And then I believe right about here should be good for me to get the hose to reach. So, all right, we will talk to you after we get hooked up. All right, so we nailed it. We didn't have to wiggle around. We didn't have to get closer. We didn't have to pull forward or backward. We lined up just perfectly. But once again, it's too noisy out there, as you could hear with those beads going through that pipe up on top of the building, and it goes around an elbow right there because the corner of the building is right there, and so it makes one heck of a racket. So we're in here unloading, and there was plenty of room. These are like 80,000 gallon silos, and there was only 5,000 gallons in silo 1 when I hooked up, so they needed the water. So they're taking it, we're unloading it, and it's nice and warm in this building. We gotta go over and use the restroom, which is an outhouse, but we're gonna come back over here and chill for a while in this nice warm building. But I want to show you something quick while I have a little bit more time. Of course, they're not on, and I tried to show you this before, but I've got just a little bit more time. But we have those 2 probes work with these 2 machines here, and after you get your sample, you pour about half a beaker in each of those 2 beakers, and dip those probes down in, and then that'll get your pH level and your TDS level, which is total dissolved solids. And then for this one, you have to fill a little vial up that is right here, and that one will read turbidity. I don't know what the difference between total dissolved solids and turbidity is. One is probably how cloudy it is, and one is particulates that are kind of semi-dissolved. I have no idea, but so pH, total dissolved solids, and turbidity is what we look for. And then they want water temperature too, but we have to do that. We have to collect the sample out of the truck in that beaker and then pour it into the other stuff as needed. And of course, sanitizer and rubber gloves and all that stuff. All right, so we're on 895, not too far west of New Ringgold here. We made pretty good time coming up 61. We got a lot of lights green up until Hamburg, and then we kind of got almost every one in Hamburg red, starting with the one in the construction zone. And that slowed us down a little bit, but other than that, we did pretty good coming up 61. So when we left the plant, it was 3:33, and it's 4:07 right now. And we're probably 10 minutes out from the well. That's what I said. The sun would probably just about be setting when we got there. We got a half hour of sunlight left yet. It sets about 4:35, so still got a little bit of sunlight to go, and it's going to be nice right up here. Should light up the landscape pretty nice because it's kind of wide open to our left. But I think we're going to get done at a reasonable time tonight, the way it seems. Even with a later start, we got started a half hour late, which I thought was going to be worse with having to go over to Pottsville to have the stitches removed from my arm. But we ended up getting to the yard. We were actually on time when we got to the yard, but it just took longer to get started in pre-trip. And then, of course, I found the tire that was low in air that we aired up. It wasn't replaced. The mechanic wasn't there yet, so I just aired it up, and we're running with it. And it's holding. It's probably got a slow leak that by Monday morning it'll probably be down to 40 pounds again. But it's holding for the day. I checked it a couple times. But anyway, we're doing good. We'll talk to you at the well. Hopefully nobody's there. We can start loading right away. All right, made it back here, loading up the fourth one. We still got daylight. We'll even have a little daylight going back probably. It'd take about 20 minutes to load like it does up there at the Red Barn, so we can get out of here pretty quick. We'll have a little daylight going down there. We'll probably be in the dark till we get there, but when we leave here, we might have some daylight yet. But hey, you look over my shoulder, I'm sure you can see some of that ice out there. I don't know, it's pretty icy. This is one of the pitfalls of water or the cold weather with water. Like I said earlier this morning, it makes life more difficult when you haul water because you got to watch how you walk. We've had a few drivers go down over the years. I did myself a couple times. Luckily, I didn't get hurt. And I should probably keep my mouth shut and not tempt fate. But anyway, we're loading, and I don't know what time we're going to get done tonight, but we'll probably get down there about the time that guy's finishing up. So we should all be good. All right. Loaded and rolling through New Ringgold. The little town... I mean, little town. There's... Okay, interesting that car is holding back to let this guy make his turn. Because we have a stop sign, and the people to the right of us have a stop sign, but those coming at us do not. So you got to kind of figure out who's going to go straight and who's going to turn. You never know who isn't going to use their turn signal. Now, this next car, which way is he going? Is he going straight? Alright, yep, he's going straight. Yeah, you can never assume here that if they don't have their turn signal on, they're going straight, because I've seen it too many times where people don't use it, and then they hook that left there right in front of you. Try to avoid these manhole covers here, but there's always a car coming. There, we did actually. Caught it with the drives a little bit. They're bumpy. It's like hitting a pothole because they didn't put the elevator rings on them. So when they paved this, so when you hit them, it's like hitting a pothole. But anyway, 4:55 p.m. We're actually in really good shape tonight. I don't know how we did so well, considering we started late, got behind those oversizeds. Had to wait a little bit down at the Fogelsville plant, and yet we're still in really good shape time-wise. All right, so we're down here unloading. We got down here with this fourth one. That guy was buttoning it up just as we pulled up around the corner there, and he was out there in 2 minutes, and we pulled up, hooked up, did our testing, and we're unloading. About halfway done. We should roll out of here about 6 o'clock, head on northbound. Maybe do 1 or 2 more segments with the DJI camera on the way back, and then we'll close her out up there, and that'll close out the week. And then we'll talk to you probably next week when we do more. All right, so rolling Leesport at night. We are empty. I said we would, well, I was thinking we would get out of there about 6 o'clock. We did. Right now it is 6:05 p.m. and we are rolling here through Leesport. Interesting little town that's still stuck with their street lights in the 1990s or 80s or whenever they came out. These orange sodium vapor lamps. Most everybody now went to LED lights, but they're still using these ugly, hideous orange lights that were popular. When I was a kid growing up, I remember with the white mercury lights, and then these orange sodium vapors came out. They became all the rage. They were brighter than the mercury lights, but now they use LED lights because they save energy, and they're actually somewhat brighter than these orange lights. But Leesport still has the orange sodium vapors, but so we did good tonight with time. It is just amazing. The whole day went really well. I don't know how it happened because we've gotten back a lot later on other days when we did 2 and 2. So I don't know how we rolled so well, except for maybe, I mean, we did wait a little bit down at the Vogelsville plant. Had a half-hour delay. Instead of getting right in there and hooking up and unloading, we had to wait a little bit for a truck to unload. And I mean, or it'd be 5:30 and we'd be heading home already. So somehow this day went really well, and I'm quite pleased. Doesn't always work out that way. All right, well, another day is in the books, another week is in the books. We did really well today. 10 1/4 hours to do 2 Fogelsvilles and 2 Reddings. That's not unheard of, but it usually takes a little bit longer than that, so we did really good today. And I might have been under 10 hours. I might have been at 9 3/4 hours to do today if it wasn't for having to air up that tire. So we're gonna walk around and do a post trip here in a minute and button everything up and then go home for the weekend, and we'll see how many videos we can do for you next week.